Right, how are you all doing? Not what I had in mind to chat about tonight, but I wanted to talk about a game, but I don't think I've put enough time into the game to realistically say I recommend it and this is why. I do recommend it, but the game kind of defies all logic at this point. It's called Loop Hero, and it shouldn't be fun. It shouldn't be fun because you don't really do anything. Just, it's not a clicker before anyone says anything. So I was about to say, all you do is click. You like click and drag and move tiles and or move items and place terrain, and that's it. Like combat is handled for you, movement's handled for you, it's done for you. So you don't you the only thing you interact with is like stats. I don't know why it's fun. It just really is. So I'm gonna have another crack at it because it's good enough for me to have burnt over an hour playing it for no reason. I just can't figure it out. Music's great, I'll give it that. It's a pixelated game, by the way. But because I can't actually go, this is the game and this is how it works and this is why I think, oh my god, this game is really cool. I got a delivery through today of random story. So I'm in the middle of a smartphone detox. In fact, this is the phone that I've been using now for the last week. It's what now, the 8th, 9th, whatever the day is. I've lost track of time. I haven't got a smartphone. I'm even using a derpy old Casio, the watch, but which it's all right. But I could do with some extra alarms. My smartphone's getting on my wick. Although I'm learning things on my kind of smartphone and internety detox that whether or not I deal with people locally at my machine in one chunk through the day or in small chunks throughout the day using my smartphone, they annoy me regardless. Like, the location and timing doesn't really seem to matter. It's either you annoy me in small chunks and it builds up to the big chunk, or you just annoy me in a big chunk at the end. It's not really a thing so far. It has been nice, though, not to just fiddle around with my smartphone all day and to realise that whilst there are some things that I like my smartphone for, I don't really need it. So I've been using this Nokia 105 dual SIM dealio, and I mentioned how I made a bit of a mistake with it in that, well, it doesn't support 3G, and the SIM card I wanted to put in here, well, it doesn't have a 2G network. From what I understand, my network used to piggyback off of another network for 2G, and their main network was 3G, and I guess that partnership, the 2G partnership, has come to an end. So the SIM didn't work, and I ended up putting a SIM from another provider that we just had it laying around. It hadn't been activated or anything. It was a pay-as-you-go SIM. It was by a company called GiffGaff. I know next to nothing about them. I just know they offer cheap SIMs, and lots of people tend to use them because they are cheap. Well, I ended up having to pay for an add-on, so I had to activate the SIM card and pay for an add-on because I found that I was burning through cash because you had to top up money to get the SIM card to activate. They'd give me like £15. I had £5 in credit on the thing just for having the SIM, and I had to put £10 on it to activate it. And I sent a couple of texts just to say, look, guys, this is the number I'm going to be using for the next month. And I found that my credit was just like gone. I was like, not all of it, but like, I mean, I'd completely forgotten how expensive texts were because obviously over the last, couple decades, texts are included with everything. You just get unlimited minutes and unlimited text because cellular companies realize, well, no one's using phone calls anymore, man. No one sends a text. Data's where the money's at because everyone's online now on their smartphones, right? We don't send an SMS or an MMS message. We go on WhatsApp or Signal or Telegram or Facebook or whatever site it is, and we send pictures and text messages through those. We just type on those. So well, we can't make money out of these little things anymore. They're too basic. Like even like calls, people just call up on like WhatsApp or Signal. Like a few of my mates overseas just call me up on Signal Messenger, and they go, "Oh, yep, just do a voice call. Hey, guys, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, mate, I'm cool." And saved a fucking fortune, but that wasn't an option back with these. And so they cellular providers have kind of realised you can't charge for that kind of stuff anymore because no one's using it. Not even bless their souls grannies are using like a phone as a phone anymore. Man, honestly, my nan has a smartphone. My mum has a smartphone. I reckon, my dad's got a smartphone. Everyone I know, regardless of age, tends to have a smartphone. Even one of my uncles who's like, dude, I don't need that. Like, he would normally use something like this. He was like, fuck it, I've just gone and got one of these fucking things. It's a crock and I don't like it. It's got loads of stuff on it that I don't need. All I want to do. He's one of the people that a phone company could literally charge a fortune for minutes. So I paid for a bolt-on to not have to pay for minutes and texts. I can still T9 text, which is like where, so you've got, each number has 3 letters on it. And so if you wanted like C, well, C is on number 2, and you press 2 3 times, you've got the letter C. You want the letter U, it's on 8, you press it twice. You want N, it's on the number 6, you press it twice. You want T, it's on the number 8, and you press it once. Bam. Nailed it. But it takes time, but I'm still pretty quick with it. Anyways, in activating this SIM and getting this little package to give me unlimited texts and minutes, and that was like £6 for unlimited texts and minutes. Dude, you could have never had that when I was a kid. Providers would have gone completely spare, and the idea that you could even get data on that, because it gives you like a little bit of data too, it would never happen, not for £6. But in registering, they had an option that I thought was long dead. They said, do you want to activate Blackberry services? And I was like, Blackberry? Ain't they gone? Like, really gone? Like, gone, dead gone, never to be seen again gone. Kind of. And they had, do you want to use a newer Blackberry, or do you want to use an old one? And I'm like, you support old Blackberries? Like, really old Blackberries? And yeah, 7 and older. So 7 is the Blackberry OS before they went to Android. And I had a Blackberry years and years and years ago. I had a Blackberry before I went the smartphone routes, where you had to pay a provider for kind of internet access specifically for your Blackberry, so you could then send emails and stuff. I loved that little Blackberry. It was a pain in the ass to get set up. It was traditionally a businessman's thing, but it was back in the days when the dream of having the internet in your pocket was like amazing. The idea that you could just hang out on IRC all day and it's in your pocket. Well, when I saw that, when I saw that they offered Blackberry support, I was like, how much can I get a Blackberry for? Because I don't know where mine is. I'm sure I've still got one. It was an old Vodafone Blackberry rebrand thing, or it was a specific model released on. It was the Vodafone blah, 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 Blackberry, but I can't remember what the model number was, and it was old. Like, how old would I have been? Like, I probably weren't even 18 at the time, I don't think. But it was old, and you had to jump through hoops, and they only really wanted to give them to business customers, and because I had other stuff as well, Vodafone were happy to give me a business contract. I hate Vodafone, by the way. They're not bad. They were terrible, but they're not bad anymore. And I wanted to try Blackberry again, because I'm on like a dumb phone challenge, and I was under the impression that Blackberries were dead. And I don't really want to text people. I don't want a T9 text, because that could take forever. And I hate predictive text. That 105 predictive text is on straight away, and every single time you go, press the button, disable the predictive text. Now you can type. Then you've sent that message. Now you're going to go send another one. Oh, turn off the predictive text. go again, and it's just like you just want to throw it at a wall, but then you'd probably break the wall. So I went online, I went on the eBays, and I was like, what's the newest BlackBerry Classic OS phone I can get hold of? This isn't the newest BlackBerry Classic OS phone I could get hold of, but it's the, what is this? It's the BlackBerry, I think it's the 9720, although I could be completely wrong. Let's have a look. Because I mean, this thing's got a touch screen on it. Like Blackberries didn't have the touch screen back in the day, and it's got a touch doobry nubby thingy here, which is also a button. About device versions. This is a BlackBerry 9720, 3G and Wi-Fi. There was no 3G back then when I had my BlackBerry. Running OS 7.1. Let's be fair, this is a businessman's phone. It's a nerd phone, and I don't expect anything to work on it. But it's got a keyboard on it, and I like that. It's got a really nice clicky press things keypad, and I can still type really quickly on one of these. I can still T9 pretty quick. But I thought to myself, well, and don't get me wrong, the 105's fine. I want to have a little go on this, see how much of this stuff actually still works. I only got it this afternoon. I paid for it a little while ago. I enabled the BlackBerry settings today, but I kind of want to give it a go. They say that BlackBerry users are they're almost a cult, kind of like the cult of Apple. Really, in that once you have used one of these and you've had the joy of typing on one and all that kind of stuff, really using a modern smartphone just doesn't tend to do it for a lot of people, because these things were quite ahead of their time. I mean, mine had a big old scroll wheel on it. You could use basic internet services on it. You could send emails on it. Download an IRC client and sit on IRC all day. It was rad, and so that's kind of what I'm going for with this for a little bit. It's got like Twitter and Facebook on it. In fact, actually, here's Twitter. How do I press and hold that, and then delete, because no one gives a fuck about Twitter, right? So I'm now actually it's going to ask me to delete the app, and then ask me to deletion will occur once the device has been restarted. Do I want to restart it? Well, that'll take a little while to restart because this is pretty slow to restart. But it has some to give you age of this device, right? It still has MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, and Google Talk, none of which I believe actually still function. It had a Facebook app on here, a Twitter app on here. I think Foursquare was on here. Is that even a thing anymore? I've now binned those off because no one gives a toss about those. I'd heard that the BlackBerry World Store was gone. That kind of seems to work. Kind of, but doesn't really have anything on it. BlackBerry Messenger, I don't know anyone with a BlackBerry, so I doubt I'd be using BlackBerry Messenger. It's got a little camera on it. I don't know what the res is, but it's a little shooter on the back with an LED. It's kind of neat, huh? My original BlackBerry didn't have a camera, because this is before people were really rocking around with camera phones. We're probably talking around the time or before the Motorola Razr, which was a flip phone back in the day. And those things used to take pictures at like 640 by 480, if that. Like, we're talking a long, long time ago. If you wanted a smartphone, you were literally going for business phones like these. Yeah, these really did have kind of a culty cult following. And I've already installed IRC on it. I've already installed an IRC client on it. And I'm going to try and maybe install an SSH dealio on here, so I can SSH into one of my servers and update the Gemini site from the BlackBerry. Just because it's got a keyboard on it. It's just, to me, this is neat. I want to see how well this works. Can you still use a retro BlackBerry in 2021? Are there any services still running? I don't know. I'm going to take a stab and say like some of it still works. Texting still, well, texting obviously works because it just goes through the network. I don't know how that is with America, but at least in the UK, some of this stuff still works. Like, if I go to Blackberry World, like, you can still download, yeah, you can still download like apps on here. You know, it's not a huge amount on here, but I love that it's got O2 on it. It's like, no, you know what? We'll just restart it like I said, because I want me to restart it to get rid of Twitter. But how usable is that thing in this day and age? I don't plan on surfing the web on it. I don't plan on watching porn on it. I don't plan on really doing anything with it shy of like texting and all that. So I imagine it's going to be just fine. But I am curious. Do people still use BlackBerry in 2021? Because like I say, it was a bit of a culty thing. People really did like their Blackberries, and I mean, I reckon people have clung on to the newer ones until they've stopped being completely supported, kind of thing. The Americans tend to have a rougher time with classic devices, but over here in the UK, it's not too bad. So, did you guys use BlackBerry? What did you use them for? Did you get them as part of a work package? And is there anything, if you did use one, is there anything you miss? If you ever wanted to try a BlackBerry, if you haven't? You know what? I just really like the idea, like I did when I was a kid, of just being able to like SSH into stuff and just sit on IRC. I don't know. I find that more interesting than the idea of using a smartphone, like a modern day smartphone, because it was smart. It was ahead of its time, way back when. The idea that you could have basic internet functionality in your pocket. Yeah, I'm just going round in circles at this point. I'm going to try and use that for a little while. And see how it goes. Download a couple of apps. I mean, the browser still seems to function. As I say, I can still text. I can still make calls. And they're like £7, 15, 20 quid. Like, you can get a good condition BlackBerry for less than like 20, 25 pounds. So if you've wanted to try one, go for it. As I say, GiffGaff seems to have them services going. I don't know how well they're working though, but they seem to be a thing. I might have a go, like, I don't know, later on. I'll log into all my IRC accounts and just see if like I can go down to the local park when I'm walking the dog and see if I can get into the IRCs that way. Because it's cool. It's nerdy and cool. I like that. Back before there was the Facebooks and the constantly connected, you know, everyone had a weird tablet-y shaped phone. Like I said, you had to be a real fucking nerd to have full-blown access to the internet all the time, and now people just take that connectivity for granted. All the normies have got onto it and piss me off like you wouldn't believe. Because they're just sat there spouting gibberish and talking absolute fluff all day, which I'm doing right now, but they're talking crap about things no one cares about, like me. Not talking about me, but, you know, I'm talking about Blackberries, for fuck's sake. I'm psyched. I'm actually psyched. I'll still have the 105. It doesn't have a SIM in it at the moment, but I've just, like I say, it was just because I activated that SIM card to put in the 105 and found that there was a provider actually still offering BlackBerry services for classic devices. I'm curious if it would support like an OS 4 device or whatever, but that's fucking cool. I know that in a lot of cases in America, you can't access any BlackBerry services on any carrier, but it's here. That's, you know, it's gonna be cool. I really want to SSH into my server and update the Gemini site, but maybe I'll update the Gemini site to say that I'm gonna try and update the Gemini site from. Oh my god, I've been rabbiting on for 22 minutes about this bollocks. Right, let's go. BlackBerry. Gotta be a businessman. You know what? I need to get my suit. I need to get my suit. I need to be dressed to look like I'm going to evict low-income families from their homes before I can realistically use one of those. But oh mate, well good. I think I still had that BlackBerry all the way up to like what, 2004, 2005. Does anyone else have any other... If you've got here, I'm now curious, were there any other smartphone devices or smart style devices that people used that they really liked back in the day? You know, like the HTC execs, like the Windows phones. What was that one? The Blackjack. I think that was a Windows phone one as well. Obviously, then you had Blackberry, Palm. Symbian wasn't. I won't consider it a smart thing, was it? But is there any kind of phones or handsets that people miss? Any kind of old school tech that people really missed? I don't know. People annoy me on the internet, and the less I'm connected, the happier I am at the moment. But just understanding that as soon as I connect to those services, those assholes are there. Well, I hope you're well. And I'll see you all with a bit of luck in the next one. Hopefully, I'll chat about Loop Hero. That's a really fun game, and just like the Blackberry, I can't explain why the fuck it's good, but it is.